Let's get into it, Ian. Let's give some landing spots for what I think actually is the best group we've talked about. This is a really good free agent running back class. So like a real professional, let's do it after we've done an hour of nonsense on the other on the other positions. Completely great podcasting here. Let's talk Kenneth Walker, who had a great Super Bowl MVP. Kenneth Walker, where are you sending him in free agency?
Super Bowl MVP. And then also, like, given the relative lackluster nature of the NFL draft running backs outside of Jeremiah Love, of course, it would make sense that these guys really can get a nice bag for themselves. So I'm going to send Kenneth Walker to the Chicago Bears. Okay. I do think there are a handful of teams that maybe have cleaner depth charts right now, but DeAndre Swift is one of these guys where he is, on all the cap casualty lists. So I do think in this circumstance, we see Swift out of the picture, and Walker gets to kind of replace him and just add even that much more juice to a run game that was good last year, but like, let's add a legit high-end talent in the form of Kenneth Walker and not, just keep going back to with DeAndre Swift and Kyle Monangai. So I think this could take them from good to great on the ground, and just everything Walker can do, man, in terms of breaking tackles, top 2 at the position in each of the past 3 seasons. I do think sometimes us fantasy nerds overstate exactly, how good he is. Success rate is a very useful measure for just, again, how often they're consistently kind of getting the needed yards. And last year was the 3rd worst back in football. And then I think that really is where the difference between him and Zach Charbonnet stands out the most. But then again, you got Kyle Monangai to kind of put his head down and go ahead and get those tough 3rd and 2s anyway. So I think the fit works. And just the Bears are one of these teams where I like your call too, man. I think that fits very cleanly right now. But like, again, if DeAndre Swift is indeed going to be out of the picture here, I think the Bears instantly become one of these top landing spots here for a running back.
I like it. And I like his pairing with Kyle Monangai. That was, I think, the best point that he made there was it just would be a really good, Kenneth Walker's going to get those explosives. Kyle Monangai is going to help you steadily move the football down the field. So yeah. I don't know if the Kenneth Walker bros would hate Monangai as much as they hated Zach Charbonnet, but that's always how it goes with the Kenneth Walker bros. I think they'd be pretty happy if he ended up in Washington. My February obsession, Ian, has been what is this Commanders offense going to look like under David Blau, because I think it is going to quietly look pretty different than what Cliff Kingsbury's brought us. I think it's going to be more of a traditional NFL offense, a lot more under center stuff, play action shots over the middle of the field. Well, you need a good run game if you're going to do that. It helps at least. And there's just been a lot of smoke about the Commanders wanting to add a back. I think they'd love if Jeremiah Love fell to their pick. I don't know at this point if they can. I don't know if they can count on that though at this point. So they're going to walk into free agency and grab Kenneth Walker, who's not the same class of back at all as Jeremiah Love, but another guy who can create those explosive plays. And man, I'll tell you what, a Jaden Daniels, Kenneth Walker duo in the backfield, that's going to be tough for people to deal with this fall.
And just right now, man, Eckler, Rodriguez, McNichols, like Bill Krosky-Meyer is the only running back they have under contract. So they really are going to need to go ahead and make a big splash. Certainly do think it makes a lot of sense there. Also, I think either of these spots, we're probably going to be looking at Walker as a legit top 12 running back in Fantasyland. Bucky Irving, Josh Jacobs, Chase Brown, those are kind of like the RB 12 through 14 right now. And even if you still prefer them over K9 in any of these spots, man, I do think that'd be the appropriate tier for him.
Yeah, it's a great point. I think I was kind of mixed on Walker last year. I was like a centrist with Kenneth Walker. I think I'd be willing to walk to the other side of the aisle and be very embracing of Kenneth Walker in Washington. So yeah, I think that would be fun. Going to be a really interesting player to see where he ends up. So Kenneth Walker is out of Seattle in both of our scenarios here. I'm actually going to replace him with our next player here, which is Tyler Allgeier. Send him to Seattle. I talked about this on 301 with Nate the other day. I think he's just a good zone system back. It's pretty clear they want to still run that outside zone run game, bringing Brian Fleury over from the San Francisco 49ers to replace Clint Kubiak, who's off to the Raiders. Tyler Allgeier knows how to run in a zone-based system, but he also can do some gap stuff. He's tough. He's powerful. He's essentially kind of like a souped-up Zach Charbonnet, but just not as useful in the passing game as Charbonnet is. And, man, there's just a clear runway for somebody in Seattle if Walker's out the door and Zach Charbonnet is not playing until late in the season. So I'm sending it to Seattle to replace Kenneth Walker.
Does all the little things well too that maybe, Walker's lacking a little bit in. Tyler Allgeier, all-time NFL leader as things stand right now in most career touches with 737 and 0 fumbles to his name. He was PFF's second highest graded pass blocker last season. Success rate during his career, man, 12th among 56 running backs since 2022. Just a good, rock solid, sound football player, and pairing him up with Charbonnet. Like that would be the sort of situation too, Matt, where I think that's almost underrated, where it's like, when we think of running back duos, we kind of want the thunder and lightning, the slasher and then, the ground and pound guy. I think having two running backs with similar skill sets like the Los Angeles Rams and Kyron Williams and Blake Corum, like I'd argue that's almost better because you're that much more, unpredictable against defenses. So Allgeier and Charbonnet though, man, that really would be a nice pairing. I got him in Arizona. Again, James Conner looking like he's probably played his last down there. He's on that same cap casual list as DeAndre Swift. And I just think him and Trey Benson could be a nice little duo there, but I would not be hating that Seattle pairing either.
Either way, man, I feel like either of these landing spots, he is definitely going to be a hipster favorite of mine next year is Tyler Allgeier. I just think he's a good back. I love all those stats that you laid out there about Tyler Allgeier, Ian, so much so that I linked your tweet about it in my free agency article. So great stuff there from Tyler Allgeier. All right, let's go to Travis Etienne here. Where are you sending Travis Etienne?
I'm going the Broncos, and I think this would be a spot where, RJ Harvey, truthers, you guys are mad. I don't care. He should be better at football. So someone like Etienne doesn't have to come in and take his job.
RJ Harvey, folks, deal with it, bro. Like you're getting very few things have been more clear than the Broncos are adding a back. Like that is happening. So RJ Harvey, truthers, you have just a few more days here to harden your hearts and like come to terms with this before it actually happens. So get to work on your self-care. That's happening. Get ready for it.
But honestly, like if they don't, it sounds like they want to make a splash. Okay. The Broncos, the other team reported that was in on David Montgomery. So I would guess they're not going to bring back J.K. Dobbins, but Dobbins was so good for them last year, man. Just doing the kind of under center runs and, reading the right hole, things that, a rookie running back like RJ Harvey weren't quite ready to do. I do think Etienne could, just be a, better version of Dobbins at this point, but maybe not, man. This one shocked me because for my money's worth, Matt, as a big time annoying Buckeye fan, I've watched a lot of college football over the years. The two most explosive collegiate running backs I remember just scaring the crap out of me playing them were Saquon Barkley, obviously at Penn State, and then Clemson Travis Etienne pre-Liz Frank, man. Absolute electricity every single time he touched the football. And that's just not the same guy. In the year 2025, the fine folks at Next Gen Stats told us that J.K. Dobbins actually reached a faster top speed than Etienne. Remember everyone literally making fun of how slow Dobbins was back in 2024, whenever he hit the open field. So J.K. Dobbins, Chris Rodriguez, Chuba Hubbard, Blake Corum, all were faster than Etienne last year. And that really did surprise me. But I don't think it's even, it's obviously not wrong. It's actual data. Maybe Schefter can give us, some notes from agents actually telling us that they had their hand time as a different one. But that's a story for another day. But dude, it just worries me with Etienne, having watched last year. I'm not even trying to make this like a Bayshall toot and should have been playing point. Etienne was fine, but he went from 5 yards per carry in weeks 1 through 9, 3.6 in the second half of the year. He had the receiving production. I felt like a lot of that was of Liam Cohen's doing, and he had to catch the ball, but let's face it, he was wide open a lot. I think it's Kenneth Walker and Breece Hall was definitely in that top tier. I think there's a tier drop, and then there's Travis Etienne. And if we had to look at these guys and just be like, could there be a running back who gets this big money and then we're just kind of disappointed by it? Unfortunately, I think it could be Travis Etienne.
I don't hate that at all. And I actually come back to, with your landing spot here in Denver, I come back to the point you made previously, which is I kind of think there's some sameness a little bit between Travis Etienne and RJ Harvey in terms of both of them are probably better pass catchers than they are runners. I think that at this point, Etienne's definitely a better runner than RJ Harvey is, but they might actually benefit from working together. They might give Denver more multiplicity in the run game. Whereas last year, it's okay, RJ Harvey's on the field. This is passing play. Before Dobbins got hurt, then he had to obviously be the full-time guy, but he was definitely a guy that was a little bit of a tell last year. Etienne would help them kind of blur the lines there. In terms of my fit here, I'm sending him to Kansas City. There's been some smoke about this one. I don't think Etienne is for everybody. I do agree with your analysis that he is a bit of a teardrop from Kenneth Walker, at least from an upside standpoint, but he was a pretty good zone runner for the Jacksonville Jaguars last year. That was sort of the system that they used, even though Liam Cohen was more of a gap-based scheme guy in his 1 year with Tampa Bay. And he is good in the passing game. He's good from not running routes, but being a screen guy. He can do that. Yeah. Chiefs love their screens, man. So zone runner, schemed up touches to the running back. I think Travis Etienne would fit in Kansas City in that regard. It's funny actually because we're overlapping here on a lot of different landing spots because I think it's kind of obvious which teams need running back. So as we go to Rico Dowdle here, he's the guy that I'm sending to Denver to be the complement to RJ Harvey. And maybe he is a little bit more of a true complement to Harvey, like lets them kind of leave the door open that Harvey can still be good. But if not, like Dowdle's had 1,000 yards in back-to-back seasons. He's a pretty damn good runner himself. And I think if he has to start for Denver, it would be a nice landing spot for a team with a really good offensive line and a solid rushing ecosystem.
Yeah, even 1,300 plus when you include some of the receiving stuff. Like, he is a capable 3-down back. You got him going the Broncos and being the 1A there. I got him going to Seattle and kind of mixing in with Charbonnet, probably taking on the lion's share of work while Charbonnet recovers from the ACL. But then, just being a nice 1A, 1B, whatever they want to use afterwards. So, again, not to do the first half, second half split thing again, but I guess I am going to do it. It makes sense that running backs, as they go throughout a season, they wear down a little bit. But man, when you see the massive drop off, that's just where the problem is. Because literally, as soon as everyone, and including the Panthers, was like, okay, Rico's the best running back here. Sorry, Chuba, you're going to be our number 2. Rico fell off a cliff, man. 5.6 yards per carry in the first 9 weeks of the year, just 3.2 in the second half. So I know he was banged up, as are most people, and we never quite know how injured these guys are and everything. But just, again, seeing it in a backfield where Chuba was actively making more out of his opportunities down the stretch, man, not great. So I did think it was funny how Rico tried to kind of go out into the analytics streets himself on Twitter, and he kind of posted the graph that had the yards before contact being down, but also kind of showed his yards after contact were down as well. So I appreciate Rico trying to get all analytical, but maybe backfired just a little bit there. But either way, long story short, back-to-back, very productive years. Obviously going to get a little bit of a bag here. I think either the Broncos or the Seahawks would be good for him in Fantasyland.
Yeah, no question. He clearly views himself as a starter. It might be tough to find a place where he's a true workhorse like he wanted to be, but I think either of these two spots, he would be the favorite to be the 1A in the backfield, at least early on in the season. Let's get to Kenny Gainwell here. Steelers MVP of last year, Kenneth Gainwell. I would guess if in your situation, Rodgers comes back, he's coming right back to Pittsburgh too. I think that actually would be a pretty nice fit for him, but we've got him going elsewhere. Where are you sending Kenny Gainwell?
Dude, just whenever you can find that pass-catching friendly RB with the geriatric old quarterback, I mean, that's just what PPR dreams are made of. So I think that would be best for Gainwell going back to Pittsburgh. Otherwise, though, I think him and Jordan Mason could form a nice little 1-2 punch there in Minnesota. Obviously, the team doesn't have much salary cap space, but accordingly, man, like I don't think Gainwell is necessarily going to be fetching 10, 12 million per year anyway. So Gainwell, one of many just kind of freaks to come out of that Memphis backfield over the years. The Antonio Gibsons, Darrell Hendersons, Tony Pollards of the world. Gainwell's another one that, again, can do a little bit of everything for you. So, yeah, man, I just think him and Mason really would be a nice 1-2. We'll see, who ends up being quarterback. Obviously, more pass down upside if it's going to be a Geno versus a Kyler Murray there. But Kenneth Gainwell, as you said, man, team MVP, Kenneth Gainwell, good football player. I think he's going to help really any offense he ends up on.
I agree. Would pretty much help any offense. I think he would help the New Orleans Saints, which is where I've got him going. I don't know what's going to happen to Alvin Kamara, but I think Kamara's days as a feature back there are definitely done. Maybe a little bit 0-2 overlappy if Kamara's back as the, kind of passing down guy. But this is an offense that wants to spread the field, does want to get into the gun. I really like Kellen Moore's offense. I think it's really well designed. I think that whole coaching staff there has been pretty impressive, actually, quietly in their first year. And I think that they'd use Kenny Gainwell well. I mean, he'd be a good outlet receiver for Tyler Shuck. Like, they want to have some quicker routes, but also some deeper shots as well. And just like a check down option for Tyler Shuck, who I liked the way Shuck played last year. I'm a certifiable Shuck head. I think he'd play pretty well in this offense with Kenny Gainwell. Let's get to our final player here of free agency. It is Rachaad White, another kind of passing down back. I'm sending him to the Arizona Cardinals. I think him and Trey Benson would make sense. Benson, I don't know if he can really function in the passing game. He's more of just a one cut and go, like big play type of running back. Also, let's be honest, Trey Benson's more of a theory than a reality at this point. We always see these like Shanahan, McVay guys. They come in and usually in their first season, if they don't have a lot of offensive line talent, they throw out more of a zone-based system, and that's exactly what I think we'll see here in Arizona. Rachaad White kind of fits there, would be a pass protector, a check down guy, it didn't work out with Trey Benson. Break glass in case of emergency. I'm really stretching to sell this one here. Rachaad White, Arizona Cardinals.
About to say, man, Rachaad White is like the Kate Otten of the running back position. Come on. What are we doing? I was shocked you even included Rachaad White. I'll be honest with you. Go to Cleveland. I don't want to see you. Quinshon Judkins take every single touch out here. Rachaad White. I think I've watched enough Rachaad White football for one lifetime already. So I will say, though, because Sean Tucker, the Buccaneers said today they're not tendering him. Rachaad White deserves credit for holding off everyone's favorite, number 3 running back in Sean Tucker, who, by the way, did absolutely nothing with his opportunities this year. So I guess we can
everyone's
ignore that
favorite industry plant, like the dynasty industry plant that is Sean Tucker.
Congrats on one good half against the Saints in 2024. Like that's literally basically what we're, accounting for in Sean Tucker's career. So not to completely crap on Sean Tucker, but just the one thing that could make me look dumb at Rachaad White is, if you just kind of stripped away my preconceived notions and the thoughts, like the dude had an RB10 finish in 2023, and he even was a low end RB2 in 2024, even with Bucky doing his thing. So good at everything, jack of all trades, master of none. Obviously not the sexiest running back signing, but if he does go somewhere like the Cardinals, man, like Rachaad White could be the sort of running back where he's like an RB4 in ADP, but once you actually run the projections, you're like, oh no, he probably should be going higher.